Oh, hello, ladies and gents. We've got our first Jasper cameo of the day. Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk about, of course, the Lord of the Rings TV series, The Rings of Power. Now, this is just to break down what like a fan website basically just absolutely obliterates it with Tolkien's quotes directly. I.e., Vanity Fair said this, Tolkien said that. Amazon said this, Tolkien said that. And the thing is, if you're not going to respect the source material and the person that wrote it, don't even bother. Like, just stop. Just stop. So, let's take a look, because this is genuine gold. Genuine, right? The Lord of the Rings fan site torches new Lord of the Rings of Power series. And this is just mainly just for the lols, because it's funny. So, following numerous plot details and the reveal of the first photos of Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings of Power in a Vanity Fair puff piece, because it is, I did a video on it and I was like, of course, like, what do you expect? Now, it just is what it is. But the OneRing.com eviscerated the show for its utter disregard of Tolkien's writings, and it really did. But quite like eloquently as well, just as an FYI. Like, it's pretty much just, oh yeah, well, Amazon said this, Tolkien said that. You can't say fairer than that. So the OneRing.com expressed their concern for the show, noting the Vanity Fair article raised multiple red flags for the show in a thread on Twitter. The fan site began, I read the Vanity Fair article and there's a lot of red flags. My first thoughts follow. The first red flag is the inclusion of hobbits, right, in the form of Harfoots in the series. Now that's important, okay, because Amazon, but really does it feel like Middle-earth if you don't have hobbits or something like hobbits in it? Tolkien, direct quote. But there, I fear, no hobbits. But there are, I fear, no hobbits in the Silmarillion. I mean, it's pretty direct. There's a reason for it. Like, the amazing writer that is Tolkien did it for a reason. Anyway, Tolkien wrote to Mrs. E.C. Austin Driver, I think, I butchered that, on January 5th, 1961, telling her, I'm now under contract engaged, among, alas, other less congenial tasks, in putting into order for publication the mythology and stories of the First and Second Ages, written long ago, but judged hardly publishable. Until, so it seems, the surprising success of The Lord of the Rings, which comes at the end, has provided a probable demand for the beginnings. Tolkien added, but there are, I fear, no hobbits in the Silmarillion, or history of the three jewels, little fun or earthiness, but mostly grief and disaster. Those critics who scoffed at the Lord because all the good boys came home safe and everyone was happy ever after, quite untrue, ought to be satisfied, and they will not be, of course, even if they deign to notice the book. And this is how it continues. So the OneRing.com would use this same letter to criticise Amazon's tone of the show. They tweeted, number 4, Amazon, this is material that is sometimes scary, but it is also heartwarming and life-affirming and optimistic. It's about friendship, and it's about brotherhood and underdogs overcoming great darkness. And the whole quote is, the material is sometimes scary and sometimes very intense, sometimes quite political, sometimes quite sophisticated, but it's also heartwarming and life-affirming and optimistic. It's about friendship and it's about brotherhood and underdogs overcoming great darkness. And then again, Tolkien would say, in the Silmarillion, or history of the three jewels, there is little fun or earthiness, but mostly grief and disaster. It's not supposed to be fun. It's the first assist. What? Anyway, the One Ring would then say, it felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. Tolkien. I was from early days grieved by the poverty of my own beloved country. I had no stories of it. It had no stories of its own, bound up with its tongue and soil, not of the quality that I sought and found as an ingredient in legends of other lands. This is the thing which, like, people have a massive issue with is with the races. Well, firstly, riddle me this, mofo. How are you going to have a black dwarf? They live underground. Like, come on. There is a reason. Also, where was the beard? Where was the beard on that dwarf? There is a reason for this. So the quote is in reference to all of the race changes that the show has made with their casting. It comes courtesy of executive producer Lindsay Weber. She would later elaborate, telling Vanity Fair, Tolkien is for everyone. His stories are about his fictional races doing their best work when they leave the isolation of their own cultures and come together. Sure, Tolkien is it for everyone. Doesn't mean everyone needs to be in it. Like, are you stupid? Why do you need... Why? And for everyone that's like, oh, well, you know, it's just fictional, it's just fantasy. So's Black Bloody Panther. Can we just change him now? Can we have some white people in Wakanda? No, of course not. Because it doesn't work that way, does it? You plebs. Tolkien further elaborated in the letter, there was Greek and Celtic and Romance, Germanic and Scandinavian and Finnish, which greatly affected me, but nothing English, save impoverished chapbook stuff. Of course, there was and is all the Arthurian world, but powerful as it is imperfectly naturalised, associated with the soil of Britain, but not with English, and does not replace what I felt to be missing. TheOneRing.com then took issue with an image shared by Vanity Fair article which showed Galadriel dressed in armour and described as the commander of the Northern Armies. They also pointed to a description of Galadriel's story in the show. So the outlet would tweet, Amazon, Galadriel is a commander of the Northern Armies. Galadriel is hunting down the last remnants of their collaborators who claimed the life of her brother. And then would say this, Tolkien, looking, tell me when you find that part where Galadriel leads her armies into battle. Okay. Because she never did. Like, she was so powerful, she didn't need to do stuff like that. The site then pummeled the show for compressing the show into a single point of time. The characterization of Elrond, the introduction of a forbidden romance, and the fact that the showrunners are J.J. Abrams' acolytes. Vanity Fair noted in their article, Payne and McKay have compressed events into a single point in time. The showrunners justified this decision, stating, if you are true to the exact letter of the law, you are going to be telling a story in which your human characters are dying off every season because they're jumping 200 years in time, and then you're not meeting really big important canon characters until season 4. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Look, there might be some fans who want us to do a documentary of Middle-earth, but we're going to tell one story that unites all these things. The One Ring would respond and categorically just say, there's so much more. Compressing the storyline into a few years rather than the centuries needed, adding new forbidden romances, the shows being run by J.J. Abrams' acolytes. Elrond is a canny young architect and politician. And they then took issue with Vanity Fair's disparagement of Tolkien, which makes perfect sense. Why would you do that? In the article, Vanity Fair writers Anthony Bresnikan and Joanna Robinson described fans critical of the show. And they did this instantly as well. Like, they straight in. Talk about gaslighting straight away. So they described fans critical of the show's lack of consistency with Tolkien's writing as trolls. How? When Amazon released photos of its multicultural cast, even without character names or plot details, the studio endured a reflexive attack from trolls, the anonymous online kind. I'm not anonymous. My name's Nate, Mr. H. I'm not anonymous. I'm not a troll. Like, there's a reason why Tolkien had it. Like, it's even just been explained in this. There is a reason why there was no multiculturalism. There was a reason. And if you're going to wave and parade, oh, well, it's fantasy, bruh. Well, then let's do that with Black Panther then. Come on. And then went on to cite feminist activist Mariana Rios Maldonado that they described as a Tolkien scholar to attack the fans further. Maldonado told Vanity Fair obviously there was going to be push and backlash, but the question is from whom? Who are these people that feel so threatened or disgusted by the idea that an elf is black or Latino or Asian? It's not disgusted and it's not threatened. It's just, hey, there's a reason why this is this. Why are you changing it? That's the argument from people. And if you can't justify the change, then we know you're doing it for tokenization. And that's the thing. There is no actual justification. You're doing it to tokenize. That's all. That's just how it is. Because if you're going to be true to it, you be true to it. If you're going to change and divert it, then you should have a reason. And if you don't have a reason other than multicultural, bruh, then, you know, there is nothing wrong with having multicultural, you know, diversity and, you know, different races and stuff. There is actually, that's fine. No one cares, right? Britain's a very diverse place. But remember, this is based on something. So you stick to it, or you have a justifiable reason, or people have the right to call you out that you're just tokenizing people. The One Ring would tweet in response to this, I know a lot of folks like Vanity Fair will say that what I'm pointing out is a reflexive attack from trolls, the anonymous online kind. When I say what I say is not reflexive or anonymous, it comes from a love of the world Tolkien created over his entire lifetime. I believe Tolkien knew what he was doing when he wrote his stories, and for Amazon to come in and inject their own modern sensibilities into it while throwing ad hominem attacks at Tolkien fans with deep vested interest in his work like me won't end well for them. No, true. And then we'd say further, when the original Lord of the Rings films released, New Line Cinema knew we, theonering.com, were purists. They still engaged us and certainly didn't call us names, and they never asked us to take down our complete list of film changes. They knew they needed fans on their side. Smart. Amazon can make as many claims that what they've created really is Tolkien's world. Half of Tolkien fandom won't buy it, though. My expectations weren't high for the show to begin with. They just dropped much, much lower. I wasn't a huge fan of Nuclear Galadriel, but Jackson had the good sense to only put her in armour when she's overcoming the lure of the ring. In Lord of the Rings on Prime, we get warrior Princess Galadriel and architect politician Elrond. I bet my axe, a female dwarf, will make Durin look a fool. Yeah, true. Lord of the Rings on Prime showrunner McKay asks, can we come up with the novel Tolkien never wrote and do it as the mega event series that could only happen now? Let me help. No, you can't. Tolkien spent his life creating the Silmarillion, and you can write what he couldn't in a few years. Yes, sir. That is fucking brutal takedown. Look, I mean, it's pretty hard to disagree with the statements made. And again, most people will just go, we're an Isterophobe or whatever. That's just such a lazy argument. There's a reason why people want it to stay the same. There's a reason for it. And if you can't give a reason as to why you want it to be changed, other than because, like, that's not a reason. Whatever. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Cheers, though. Take care.